Imagine a nascent American republic, its future a precarious gamble, locked in a brutal fight for survival against the world's naval superpower. But what if that gamble failed? Its dreams shattered, rewriting the entire continent's destiny. And let's find the answer to the question, what if? A decisive British victory in the War of 1812 would shatter any hope of a simple return to the status quo, instead dictating a profoundly punitive peace. The United States would be forced to accept significant territorial concessions, fundamentally redrawing the North American map. Crucially, a permanent British-backed Native American buffer state would be established across much of the Old Northwest, regions like future Ohio, Indiana, and Michigan. This formidable barrier would forever block American westward expansion in a vital area. Furthermore, Britain would gain strategic control over key portions of the Great Lakes, including parts of the Michigan Territory, and secure a more advantageous border with British North America and Maine. This immediate aftermath would leave the fledgling republic geographically diminished and strategically crippled. A decisive British victory would profoundly weaken the nascent federal government, its authority undermined by the crushing humiliation of defeat. This outcome would thoroughly validate Federalist opposition to the war, sparking widespread national discontent and resentment towards a leadership perceived as incompetent. Such deep internal strife would ignite heightened regionalism, particularly in New England, already prone to dissent. This region would likely find significant traction for outright secession, or forming a powerful semi-autonomous confederation, drastically fracturing national unity, with the republic consumed by internal divisions and territorially constrained by punitive borders, including British control over Great Lakes regions and a permanent Native American buffer state. The ambitious concept of manifest destiny would be stillborn. A divided and diminished nation, unable to envision or pursue expansion across the continent, would remain a smaller, less influential entity, its grand continental ambitions permanently curtailed. A British victory would dramatically reshape North America, ushering in an era of clear British dominance and fostering a unique indigenous power. British North America, Canada, would emerge significantly strengthened, its identity firmly established without constant US annexation threats, potentially accelerating its self-governance within the empire. More profoundly, the empowered Native American buffer state would flourish, maintaining cultural integrity and political autonomy for generations, fundamentally altering indigenous peoples' fate on the continent. This would create a dramatically different continental power balance. The United States would be a weaker, smaller, and likely divided entity, overshadowed by a robust British presence and a prominent sovereign Native American confederacy. This multipolar North America would be vastly different from our historical reality. A decisive British victory would fundamentally reorient America's economic destiny. The United States, stripped of crucial Western territories and potentially burdened by punitive war indemnities or restrictive trade agreements, would find its path to autonomous industrialization severely obstructed. Instead, Britain would cement its economic hegemony across North America. It would exert tight control over vital trade routes and markets, ensuring a continuous flow of its industrial goods into American territories, thereby decisively stifling any attempts at domestic manufacturing. Such an economically crippled and internally preoccupied United States would become a minor international player for generations, drastically diminishing its global influence. This altered role could significantly reshape the world's balance of power and even change the outcomes or directions of subsequent European conflicts. A British victory would indelibly scar the American national psyche. Instead of a unifying narrative of triumph, the fledgling United States would grapple with a humiliating tale of failure, fostering deep-seated resentment towards Britain and fueling incessant internal bickering rather than national pride. This profound defeat would severely test the very ideals of American democracy and republicanism. The fragility of the government might lead to a more authoritarian regime, persistent instability, or even the outright dissolution of the Union into smaller, competing entities, shattering the vision of a united republic. Consequently, the American experiment itself would transform from an inspirational success story into a stark cautionary tale, raising fundamental questions about its viability. This would trigger a dramatically different cultural and political evolution for the continent over the next 2 centuries, creating a North America unrecognizable to our own history. A British victory in 1812 would have fractured the US, empowered indigenous nations, and globally diminished the young republic. In your opinion, what if Britain had won the War of 1812? Share your thoughts in the comments.